course, the book.
Hello, and welcome to Greet the Week. I am Mona Duncan, and this program comes. I have a little chat every Monday, and it is looking at living in the now, that always is, and also appreciating everything in life that happens to us. The realizing that it's all lessons for us to learn, and I also need you to know that the things that I suggest, I'll give qualifiers to them if it comes from someone else, but if it's kind of from me, it is a suggestion only, because I am still working at life and still learning more and more and more every day. And so it doesn't, I hope it does not come across as a directive, but as a suggestion or maybe something to think about. And today we're going to be looking at what is love. And this is definitely suggestions from my point of view, is looking at what is love. It is complicated. It is wonderful. It is an emotion. And how do we handle it? So what is love? And so I asked the question rather than making the definition, that is love the energy of the universe? And I have I just think that it is. I was going through well, I'll get to it later. I was going through looking at some books to get rid of so that I can put some more new ones in their place. But I was thumbing through a book that I'd read previously, and there was at the top of one of the chapters, well, top of all the chapters, there was a quote from someone. And I read that quote, and it really got me to thinking. And I'll look at that a little bit later as we go along. But anyway, happy Valentine's Day. This is the official day. Part of February's theme is to have a limited number of days, 28, occasionally 29. It is kind of the last hurrah of winter before spring begins to show, at least in some parts of the country. And it also is kind of known as the month of love. And for Garland and I, not only is it Valentine's and the multitude of people that we love and care about, but it also is our anniversary, 55 years, not on the 14th, but on the 24th. And I didn't choose that for any particular reason, whenever it just turned out that way. But anyway, we kind of use the word love rather loosely. We look at it in loving pets or people or pasta or just a plethora of other things. And of course, there is in the Holy Writ the instructions for us to love others as we love ourselves. And as we can have a good, healthy relationship with us, we're certainly in a position to have a better relationship with others, whomever they may be. And this ancient wisdom of loving yourself as you love others, or love others as you love yourself, this ancient wisdom seems to be a given, that we started out life with a healthy self-love. And as we think about love and loving and what it means and the emotion of it, that sometimes we can have an insight. And my definition of an insight is just kind of that aha moment when the things we have perceived become more clear. It becomes more of a vision. It becomes more of reality. And of course, reality is pretty much what we interpret. So this is the quote that was at the top of a chapter. And it was by the 19th century Russian philosopher and engineer Fyodor Dostoevsky. I probably am really messing up his name. But here was the quote. If you were to destroy in mankind the belief in immortality, not only love, but every living force maintaining the life of the world would at once be dried up. Now I got to really thinking about love. And is it an energy? I mean, we talk about now, especially with quantum theory and everything, that it's all energy. And if that energy is energy love, and is love energy, and would it be dried up? So here is kind of looking at some definitions of love. that there are, as in everything in life, there are spectrums. It's from one end to the other. There's from the depth and the height. And almost nothing is static. It has different connotations that go with it. And so going kind of from the top to the bottom or top down. Agape is a type of divine love. It's a God kind. It is a love regardless of rather than because of. It's a love in spite of. It's a love that is unconditional, that is eternal, that is healing, that is connecting, that is regenerating. And then, of course, we have the Eros love, which is more with the Valentine theme. And that is more the exotic or the romantic. And then there's Phileo. Philadelphia is known as the city of brotherly love. And Phileo is the type of love that not only is a friendship for others, but it's also a self-love. And Hadessa is choosing to love, is a type of love that we choose and we keep on loving, whether it is received or whether it is rejected. That kind of goes hand in hand with agape, but it's on a lesser degree than an agape love. And then, of course, there's that stoic, that kind of everything else that's a hodgepodge for everything else to be thrown into. It's anything that's still left over. It's the things we love. It's the inanimate. It's the places that we love. It's the chocolate. It's the toys. It's the other stuff. So I have some quotes here just to look at and think about and see how they might resonate with you. Jeannie Mercer says, agape, a special kind of divine love that transcends the ordinary tongue of men. It employs a vocabulary of truth, patience, and kindness, of trust, forgiveness, and hope. It will last forever. Marilyn Voss Savant says, I believe that love, not imitation, is the sincerest form of flattery. Your imitator thinks that you can be duplicated. Your lover knows that you cannot. And here's Facebook or somewhere. Selfishness is probably the greatest enemy of love. The reason for this is because love cares about others, while selfishness cares about self. And Ann Landers, some wisdom from the advice columnist. While a marriage license is no guarantee the relationship will last, it is still the best measure of one's level of commitment. And what is commitment like in our world today? And on Facebook, love remembers your birthday, but not your age. So very thankful for that love has a lot of grace in it. Marlo Thomas, the director and promoter of the St. Jude Hospital that her dad founded, says, if there's one thing I've learned from St. Jude, it's that hope can be a medicine and love can be a cure. And I assure you, those are two things that all of us are qualified to dispense. And maybe just take that and embrace that hope is a medicine and love can be a cure, and that we are quite qualified to be able to dispense both the hope and the love. Rabbi Howard Kushner says the essence of married love is not romance, but forgiveness. Romantic love needs to delve, to deny, and overlook flaws. But mature love sees the faults in ourselves and in the ones we love, and is capable of loving flawless people. And we're all flawed and we're all fabulous. We're all wonderful. We're the both ands of everything. Norman Vincent Peale, love is what comes from living through difficulties. And not only living through difficulties, but being able to love and learn from. And C.S. Lewis says, you may love in all infirmities and even in spite of, but love does not cease to will their removal. And so any day in working with anyone, whether it is neighbors or kin or mates or children or siblings, there sometimes are some things that we need to love, even in the midst of all those infirmities, but knowing that love does not cease to will that those things would be removed, that we would learn about the difficulties of life and how that love can really help us learn lessons that is really worth learning. So what is love? And this is my, Mona, thinking definition of that it is a universal emotion flowing from us to help us connect to the world and to others. And as this love flows from us, I find it to be a thankful heart. I was sitting in the living room the other day and it was cold and I was getting warm. And outside, I could just hear the birds just singing. And I was just so thankful for that even in the midst of the freezing weather, they were out there just being so happy. And love is something that causes that flow from you to go towards something else, to be thankful for it, for the sunshine, for difficulties, for lessons to learn. It also, love is received and is given with a grateful gratitude. A few years ago, my granddaughter, she was about 18 at the time, 18 months old at the time. She was not feeling well. And she and her mom and dad were down visiting. And they had gone out and I was home alone and my husband was at work. And Katie and I were just looking at little children's books and listening to the little ones that had little songs with them and listening to them and singing them. And there was one, the beauty of the earth, for the beauty of the earth, for the glories of the sky, for the love that from our birth over and around us lies. And every time that's Katie did, as she began to get kind of sleepy and restless, and so I would punch the button and have it sing again because she was a little restless. And every time it stopped, she would rouse up to push, and it was to push that one button that kept repeating over and over and over. For the beauty of the earth, for the glory of the skies, for the love that from our birth over and around us lies. And that is the energy of, we cannot live without breath. And it is that sacred breath taking in. But if there was not air in the whole universe, none of us could breathe. And it's that saying that love, the love that from our birth, because it is the energy of the universe. And over and around us, it's always there, whether we can see it or not. So here's some additional thoughts concerning love. That we need to look at it, and although it is an emotion, begin to realize that we have a choice in all of those emotions. To know that love multiplies, but it does not divide. It's not separating. Sometimes we may think, oh, I love so many people, or I care so many people, or I have so many things in my life, I can't add anything else to it. But it's a multiplying. It's a multiplying. It's not a dividing. And we never outgrow our need for love. No matter what age, no matter what status, no matter what authority, we never outgrow our need for love. And it's realizing that everyone has worth, value, and inherent dignity simply because we are the highest order on planet Earth, simply because we exist, simply because we have been born, and that love does surround us. We cannot dismiss each other simply because we do not like what the other person does, what they say, or what they believe. But realizing that love is multipliable and it can impart hope and it can impart healing. And as Rumi suggests, the Sufi poet from moons ago, Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against love. So may that give you some things to think about. And thank you for being here. And many blessings and good mental health.